Hello, everyone. Today we're speaking with Dr. Lynn Lashbrook, founder and president of Sports Management Worldwide. That's SMWW. Dr. Lashbrook, welcome to From Grassroots to Greatness, the journey to the top. For my listeners, I'm Bruce Oliver, and I'm currently a student in the soccer agency course at Sports Management Worldwide. Lynn, it's an honor to have you here today. As the founder and president of SMWW, you've built one of the most respected sports management educational institutions in the industry, helping thousands of people, like myself, aspiring professionals, launch and advance their careers in sports. I'm excited to learn from your experience and insights. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bruce. I'm glad to be here.
You have a robust past from your roles in athletic administration at universities like Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, University of Alaska, Fairbanks, and the University of Missouri, to founding Sports Management Worldwide. Tell us about your journey from founding SMWW, your vision for sports management education, and your experience in the sports industry.
I like the title Grassroots to Greatness. I grew up in the city, Kansas City, Kansas. Farm boy, had two farms, so I farmed every day. I wasn't in school. Largest high school, smallest boy. Going through high school is football, basketball, and baseball. There was the Kansas City Scouts when I got to college, but grew up with football, basketball, and baseball. Walked on at Fort Hays State out in Kansas and was successful. And 4 years later, with scholarship, I knew I wanted to get into college athletics. So I went to Springfield College in Massachusetts, the birthplace of basketball. That's where James Naismith, a Canadian, put up a peach basket, and the rest is history. I was inspired by that. Then I wanted to get my doctorate so I could come back to 4 days and teach and coach. I went to Northern Colorado, walked on, graduate assistant coach, and then head freshman coach, substitute in the day. Our degree then was kinesiology, the study of the bones and the muscles. And there's 206 bones, and I'll come back to that a little bit later. So then driving through Hayes, I got a chance to say hi, and they said, you want to teach physiology, kinesiology, track, golf. I never played track. I never ran. And if you can teach, we'll let you coach some football. And I did. And 7 years later, I had tenure at 30 years old. Nobody leaves tenure. But I got the itch to go to the University of Missouri as assistant athletic director in charge of academics and compliance. And there I met a lot of the big time NFL scouts and agents. And we led the Big Eight in graduation rates. This is before NIL and transfer portal. And then I wanted to be an AD, so I went to Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville in 1985. And that was when they put in the 3-point line for NCAA basketball. And it was my old advisor at Springfield College, Ed Stites, that kind of ramrodded that through. That was an exciting 3 years, but I wanted more. I wanted to go to a university named after a state. So I went to the University of Alaska Fairbanks in 1988. And 2 years later, the wall went down in Germany, or a year later with President Reagan. And the closest town or closest flight besides Seattle was Russia. And I studied Russia at Springfield College. And so we started an exchange program, brought over a hockey player and a volleyball player, had Aeroflot as a corporate sponsorship, and had the first exchange in the NCAA with Russia. And after 5 years there, I turned down Western Michigan. I wanted to watch my son play high school ball back in Kansas City. And I went to Jerry Rice's agent, Jim Steiner, and begged for him to let me be an agent. He didn't want me to, but I talked him into it. In the first year, I had 4 players, and they all made the NFL. One was an undrafted free agent named Ralph Dawkins out of Louisville. 2 years later, his younger brother, Brian, out of Clemson, an NFL Hall of Famer. I call it the Ralph rule. So I was doing very well. I moved out to Portland, Oregon to restart my life. And I lost Ryan Leaf to Lee Steinberg. And the internet started up, dial up Yahoo. And the Jerry Maguire movie came out. And I said, I can teach people how to be an agent. And we started with one course, one student, and then two. We added some courses. The light bulb went off as online education. Today, 30 years later, we have over 30,000 graduates, 164 different countries, over 40 some courses taught by industry leaders. None of them have a degree in kinesiology but me. And we're all over the world. and we're growing like crazy because we're sincere. We're micro-credentialing, although we offer college credit. We want to help people with a Rolodex, people that their dad didn't own the team, they didn't play at that level, they didn't coach. They have to know somebody. So in sports, it's who you know and what you know. We provide the what you know and the who you know through our informational interviews. And it's pretty exciting, Bruce. And I'm very humbled. We started doing conferences. Next year, we'll do our 30th conference at the NFL Combine. About 20 years ago, we started the NHL Draft Conference. We'll be in Buffalo this year. Last year, we had the assistant to Commissioner Bettman, Bill Daly, speak at our thing. Harry Sinden used to teach our courses. Bruce, we have all kinds of faculty members and head coaches and everything. And we're just growing. And, with the World Cup coming and what hockey went through with the Olympics and baseball, World Baseball Classic with Venezuela winning. We're going to Australia for a meet and greet. The NFL's going there, the globalization, the talent discovery, the NIL, the transfer portal, everything in sports is growing. We have a challenge right now in the Middle East, but we're dealing with Saudi Arabia about doing partnerships over there. So it's a very exciting time at Sports Management Worldwide, sincerely. And we try to offer our alums a resume service and informational interviews. And we want people to get jobs. So we're focused as much on what you know as who you know. How do we get a job? Instead of just giving you a certificate, we work very hard to help place people. And that's kind of our simple story. So we're not in Kansas anymore. I will share you with you. I'm inspired by Naismith and that ladder and that peach basket. I jokingly tell people I took my career ladder and put up a website. But I'm inspired every day with my background, and I've been very fortunate growing up.
I know one of the big things that I'm interested in, what and made me interested in sports management worldwide, was you can finish the classwork and the coursework, but continue to be mentored. And that's a big, big thing for new people in the industry.
Yeah.
I've been around a long time. I've started a number of different programs, and this really hit me. For
Yeah.
people that are interested in breaking into the industry, I think this is a great, great fit.
Yeah.
Um,
Bruce, we take a lot of pride. It's called access to opportunity democratizes diversity. When I say diversity, I'm talking culture, I'm talking gender, I'm talking race, I'm talking age. We have 71-year-olds and 17-year-olds, and it's the most beautiful. The alumni coming together every week and trying to network. And there's an opportunity out there. And a lot of people pivot they come and they want to be a scout. And they end up saying, well, why not just be an agent and represent the athlete? There's some people that want to be an agent, end up being a general manager. There's salary cap. And now with college athletics and with NIL and scouting and analytics has revolutionized our world. And then marketing, there's so much going on. And with streaming going on and adding sports betting, whether you like it or not, it's part of the whole gluership that I call the value of the franchises, the private equity. The globalization is really something that I found, like in hockey. Who would have ever thought after Gretzky went to LA, what would happen to hockey in the southern states, if I may? It's just amazing what's going on in Los Angeles and other parts of the world. And watching hockey, which was limited by the TV, and I remember the Flair when they tried to promote it. But hockey today, with the digital, it's just an unbelievable product. And to see what the last couple of years and even having the celebration of veteran or veteran Alex winning the longtime scoring award, and Gretzky and his family were there. The way they did that last year was such a beautiful experience. But I think hockey has really enjoyed a growth that people didn't think hockey could ever become a mainstream sport, and I think it has. It is, and it has been.
Soccer's on the way also.
Yeah, and the World Cup. You'll love this story, but I grew up not liking soccer, and my son got involved with soccer, and he was actually worked for Don Garber for years. But I grew up with the late Lamar Hunt, who brought the Kansas City Chiefs to Kansas City from Dallas, and he started the Super Bowl, and he started the American Football League. And I sat in the stands with the late Lamar Hunt when his son Clark, who owns the Chiefs, was playing soccer at SMU, and I was AD at Southern Illinois University Edwardsville, and my coach was Bob Gelkers, a Division I soccer program. I also had Irv Schmidt when I had to take a soccer class when I was back at Springfield College. But watching Lamar Hunt bring soccer to America, this time in the next couple months, in North America, we talk about Canada and Mexico and the United States hosting this World Cup this time, and the kind of travel and the kind of eyeballs that are coming this way, it's going to be unbelievable. And it has an impact on every sport out there globally. And now the NFL starting flag football. They're growing that sport. It's just crazy what's going on. But the success of any one sport is helping all sports. And this soccer really sets the example that every sport can be global. And that's why I admire what the NFL is doing with flag football. NBA is going to Europe. Look at the international rosters. Look at the Canadians that are playing. Some are going to the NCAA teams, and they're getting NIL deals. It's having an impact on that. But it's the most exciting time for talent discovery, I call it, and sport discovery. The cross pollination. A player never played football is learning how to kick. A rugby player signs with South Carolina for a football scholarship. It's something I've never witnessed before, and it's an exciting time to work in sports, Bruce.
As an NFLPA certified agent who has represented well over 150 to 200 NFL players, including Brian Dawkins, Matt Moore, and Kavonte Turpin, what traits do you look for when considering a new player client?
It's a great question because the market, you look for the relationship. I call it the Ralph rule. If you get Ralph, you'll get Brian. But also, I went through all the moms. I teach my students how to be recruited, don't recruit. Just signing somebody, like an Uber driver fills out an app and they get approved, they go to the airport and they pick up a passenger and they actually make money. When I get off the plane, I go to the app and the closest one to the airport gets the business. And so the reason I bring that up, the market, you don't agent a player to the next level, you advise them. To have a lifetime relationship with a Matt Moore that played almost 14 years, an undrafted free agent, the mentoring part and helping young men and women. Now, we're not talking just men's sports. We're talking women's sports here, as you know what's going on with professional women's hockey, etc. But I look for an opportunity for somebody that hopefully the business side can make it. But if not, I want to have a lifetime relationship. And so it has to be the right person. And there's somebody out there for everybody. And now agents are approved to represent high school seniors that are deciding where to go to college. And the world of agency is about relationships. So it's impossible to be a successful agent if you don't understand NIL going from high school to college. The other thing an agent has to be able to do is advise an athlete and family, do I stay at this school or do I transfer? And it's a tough decision. It's very personal. The corporate agency with 100 clients is in conflict when they start advising. And so we think this is a revolutionary opportunity for anybody that wants to work in sports to take an NIL course or an agent course and all of a sudden represent a few players and changing their lives and be successful while you keep your day job. So back to what do I look for? I look for the opportunity to monetize, but I also look for a match, the right match for the values, so that if it doesn't work out on the field or the ice, that you can be part of that mentoring for life, because there's so much more to sports than just the game itself. And that's what I look for, is the right person, the right feel. It's a good question.
From grassroots to greatness, the journey to the top. It's your exciting soccer podcast. The journey to the top.
Right.
You led a campaign to bring Major League Baseball to Portland, Oregon, resulting in a $150 million stadium revitalization now used by the Portland Timbers. What lessons from that experience have shaped your approach to sports management education?
So, Bruce, I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas. It was the Kansas City A's.
Hmm.
I'd go from left to right field. I caught 13 foul balls in 2 years. The philosophy of our company is you have to have a ticket to the game to catch a foul ball. But I was found out when I moved to Portland, we had lost our minor league team and they were trying to bring back a minor league team. And I went to the library and I found out that Portland was bigger than Kansas City.
Mm.
And there was a team up there in Montreal that was moving. And so we started going after them and we made inroads. We didn't get them. They went to Washington, of course. But 30 years later, baseball is going to expand once they solve their collective bargaining agreement. We're a West Coast time. And so I stayed on it and we stayed with the program. Wow, we have an $800 million stadium finance bill, not 350. As you know, the values have gone up. I'm passionate what baseball could do for a community, just like I'd like Montreal to have a team. They get a stadium. They were unbelievable baseball franchise. And look what Toronto's done, particularly last year. And so I'm fascinated by what sports can do for a community. I have a saying, a cliche at 77, sports is a weapon of mass construction. It's a substitute for war. We really do need sports in our world. And if you go back to the original Olympics, they took time out in war. And if you look what's going on in the Middle East, once this war or this conflict is settled, it's all going to be about sports. And we'll be
Mhm.
2034, the World Cup is going to Saudi Arabia. So just for a moment, if we can get through these conflicts, sports is what brings everybody together. And even with our political divisions right now and the polarization, what happened in Toronto last year was unbelievable. How the whole country supported this one team that represented all of Canada. It was exciting. There's nothing that could bring people together like that.
With your educational background, a doctorate in education from the University of Northern Colorado, a master's from Springfield College just up the street from me, and a bachelor's from Fort Hays State University. How has your academic foundation influenced the curriculum and teaching philosophy at SMWW?
I love the question, Bruce. I was phys ed. That's all they had. We didn't have sports management. Springfield College was health and physical education.
Mm-hmm.
In Northern Colorado, it was kinesiology. And when sports business started to come around, then everybody was converting their curriculum. They weren't qualified teachers to teach sport business, but that's what the students wanted. The working in sports is an unbelievable opportunity. And you'll love this. I told you about 206 bones in the body. There's 206 countries designated by the Olympic Committee, 206. And I call it an out of body experience. So I've gone from 206 bones in the body as a professor to passionate about 206 country representation around the world, global ambassadors, I call them. And I'm driven by the point that sport business needs to be taught by industry leaders. And a doctorate in kinesiology doesn't qualify for me to teach analytics of baseball or analytics of hockey or scouting of hockey. So we went out and took the Harry Sindens of the world and the Doug McLeans of the world that are retired that want to give back to their team, and then we help students work in their college athletic programs, not in the classroom. So I'm kind of a chip on my shoulder. Higher ed has gotten very expensive, and I want students to get a return on their investment. I want them to get paid for their passion. So all our courses really aren't taught on campus. So we become a friend of the university. At one time, we weren't respected or appreciated by universities, but now every day we get college students that take a complimentary course. We want them to get their degree, but we want to help bridge it. And that's where I think Sports May Worldwide has become a friend. There's three people in my life that have inspired me. Phil Knight, right here in Portland, who I met with when we were doing baseball. He started with a shoe in the trunk of his car. I met Howard Schultz when he owned the Sonics, and Howard took a coffee shop and said, I'm going to have a coffee shop in every part of the world. And he did that. And then, of course, back to Lamar Hunt. He literally said, I need to bring soccer to America. And here we are celebrating. I mean, Kansas City's getting 3 base camp host teams because of Lamar Hunt. He changed Kansas City, he changed soccer forever. And so it's just one of the most exciting times. I'm getting younger at 77 because there's so much reason to get up every day and keep growing. So I'm so appreciative of you asking me these questions. And I'm so proud of you, what you're doing, and your willingness to take a podcast and talk about a story. And we'll do the same thing for your podcast.
Talk about my questions. What else do you think be important for people that are listeners to hear?
Yeah, I think because our price point has stayed we're less than $2,000 with a lifetime membership. We provide resume service. Our secret sauce, you'll appreciate this, is called informational interviews. It started with a minimum of 2. Now I let students do, some people have done 100. But our secret sauce, you do an information interview with somebody in the profession, 10 minutes, ask them how they got started, what are their challenges, and ask if there's anybody else I should interview. And guess what? We send a Starbucks gift card. And the person they interviewed calls us up and thanks us for the Starbucks gift card. And we invite him to speak at our conference. We have a Rolodex of over 200,000 professionals around the world, and our students get to use our Rolodex. And then we tell them to keep their day job, and we'll never guarantee a job. That's wrong. And that's why I think we're a win-win. And we're getting people an opportunity to work in sports that, again, didn't have the letter jacket, and they don't know somebody and their dad doesn't own the team or mom. And that's what we're doing, is democratizing the opportunity to get paid for your passion. I tell students every week in my chat, adrenalize today and monetize tomorrow. And as you know, I also say go global or go home. If you don't think globally, whether you're Peterborough Petes and major juniors, or whether you're the NHL or baseball and the international rosters and the Otani and what's going on in football, if you don't think globally of the 8 billion people out there, you're missing the opportunity. Many students are going to be working other places in the world. Many students are going to be representing athletes with another agent advisor in NIL at a university in their backyard. It's just the most robust, exciting time. And we're going to keep growing and glowing. And the story's fun to tell. It's a true story, and it gets better every day.
In fact, that's one of the things that turned me on to your program. You took What Color's Your Parachute that I used to tell my students at the university. Read
Yeah.
that book and interview people. You're not looking for a job, and this is exactly what you say.
Right.
Don't look for a job. You want to talk to people. And on my first interview with a good friend of mine, I'm talking to Tom, and he says at the end of the interview, I said, "Is there anybody else I should know?" He says, "Bruce, call Diane tomorrow at such and such corporation."
Yeah.
And I had a job. I wasn't looking for a job. It's just amazing.
Well, you know, they laugh at me, but where'd you go to high school is my favorite line. And the reason I ask that question, if I ask what you do, it doesn't tell me your whole story. If I ask where you're from, it gives me quite a bit. But high school, really, well, I didn't, my dad was military. I said, "Where'd you go to high school?" But we make every presenter at our conference say where they went to high school because it's a story. Everybody has a story from high school on. And if you say, "Where'd you go to college?" it doesn't even cover the true story. And that's why "Where'd you go to high school" is our mantra. And I think we're helping people get more comfortable, more confident, and they can use us as the reason they're doing the information interview. And it's a great story. And I'm real appreciative. I'm very humbled and feel blessed. But I can't wait to get up tomorrow to grow the company because I want to make a difference in the world. And we haven't touched everybody's lives. And so most people will come to us and say that we're biggest regret is they wish they'd done it sooner. The other is most people come to us, they've never heard of us before. The good news is that they've never heard of us. The bad news is they've never heard of us. And so we have a lot of growth to go, and we're doing AI in our marketing, but every day, including these podcasts, are another day of growing our company. I'm so appreciative you invited me in.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you. If you were to do this all over again, is there anything that you would do different?
I thought about that question, and there's no reason to change. Great parents worked hard on the farm, and I walked on. That's one of my mantras. I walked on everywhere I went. Wasn't handed to me. I disagree that you shouldn't try to get paid for your passion. and dream. And I just look at my life, and if something happened tomorrow, I feel like I've left a nice little peach basket for the world. And I really think where SMWW is today and where Nike was 20 years ago, I think we're just at the beginning of something very special. We're the only ones that did what we did for 30 years. Nobody can steal the 30-year grassroots approach, if I may use your cliche there. But we are a grassroots company, and greatness. I'm humbled about that. We're not there yet, but if you think about what could happen tomorrow, the next day, it's pretty exciting. You hold on to this podcast. We're going to laugh someday at it.
A whole bunch of people. As a matter of fact, people are contacting me daily, asking me to be on the program. I'm hopeful that it's going to help people. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I want to leave a mark and help mentor some young players, some young people that are going into the industry.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what you're doing. Exactly. And I can respect that. I think that's fantastic. And it's been a real pleasure having you on.
I can't wait to see you in Buffalo. Make sure Nick gets whatever this podcast we do. We're going to promote it for you and make it a win-win. How's that?
Fantastic. I appreciate that.
Have a great day, and thanks for the invite.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming on the pitch today, Dr. Lashbrook. Thank you for sharing your insights and expertise with our listeners. Your work at Sports Management Worldwide is helping shape the next generation of sports professionals. We appreciate you taking the time with us to be with us on From Grassroots to Greatness, the journey to the top. For my listeners, if you like this program, you'll like more of them that are going to be coming. Please subscribe, follow, like, and share this with your friends that are in sports and soccer. Until next time, we'll see you.